Good afternoon. I'm Leigh Montgomery, and I'm the librarian at the Christian Science Monitor. And I'd like to thank the Reynolds Journalism Institute for inviting me here to talk about our archives and what we're doing in terms of access, preservation, revenue, and also how we're incorporating it into our journalism. And also to tell our story up to and after the morning on March 2009, when a group of us, editors and staffers, stood around a production manager's desk, and after a 10, 9, 8 countdown to 1, much like in advance of a space flight, she pushed the button for the last daily print edition of our newspaper. And after some applause, it definitely felt like a spacewalk. There was a palpable sense of being unencumbered by gravity, but definitely into a web-first world with the world watching. So where we are now, we maintain a commitment to international news. That is one of our distinctions for a worldwide audience. It was one of the first entities to have a truly global focus since it was founded in 1908. We continue to have reporters living and working currently in 7 countries. And as of March 2011, we had, by one measure, 6.5 million to 8.5 million unique website visitors. 6.5 million is what we can reliably use for an ad rate. And it was the 230th most visited website in the United States in March. We are very pleased with this. There's been a surge of interest in international topics, definitely beginning in January with mass demonstrations in Egypt, which have since spread to the Arab world and calls for reform, and of course the earthquake in Japan and the recovery, which occurred 1 month ago. And we were heartened by this. We think that interest in international topics in a global and interconnected world is a good thing for all of us. We also have a weekly print product which currently has 75,000 paid subscribers, and that's been a successful product. We enjoyed a 54% increase in subscribers since we shut off the daily print in 2009. So I think at its end it had 46,000 print subscribers, and we're now at 75,000. As far as our library, I thought that this group would appreciate that we've had a library since 1908, and someone thought to interview the first journalists who worked at the Monitor. And so we have his words. Leon Stone, who was the first librarian, said that he started the first reference file, clipping file in the history of the Monitor as the nucleus of the present Monitor library. And so the library today, we're now embedded in the newsroom. We are journalists too, where we support editors, reporters, and the editorial integrity of our publication. We conduct research, create content directly, manage resources for all of our staff to use, as well as archive the pages of our products, so the weekly print edition, our photographs, and our website, which we refer to internally as the archive edition. My story is not unusual. Many of our colleagues that work at the 1,400 daily newspapers that are continuing to publish have different jobs, but they also help maintain the archive internally as well as to send to commercial aggregators. And also within our staff, we are kind of a depot for where the content lives in many different repositories. That might be the photo archive, that might be the tech staff that administrates our content management system, it might be our page archive, it might be our DAM. So our archives from 1980 to the present can be accessed from our website and at no cost via a Google search module on our website. They're also available on the open internet. And our pre-1980 archives are available via ProQuest, one of our vendor partners, where from our website, visitors can section of the site. It looks like our site, but it was created by ProQuest and branded for us. And they can make purchases of page prints, or they can buy a selection of articles as well. As far as the web first, in advance of this, we celebrated 100 years of publication. That was in November of 2008. And we decided to use that as a springboard with the energy and attention on Centennial. We were reintroducing ourselves to the world a few months in advance of this change and moved to a web-first, multi-platform publishing model. So again, we're producing 3 formats. We are web-first, publishing on the internet 24/7. Again, we have a weekly print magazine, which is a subscription product. We also have a daily email digest of news, which is another subscription product. It is a PDF with edited content from the internet edition. I find that it has some urgency to it. It tends to be a kind of a pressing, complex situation in the world. And it also carries original content by our editor, John Yema, or our managing editor. And so those are supported by a central talent reservoir as well as dedicated editors. Well, all of our editors are dedicated, but we have editors that are devoted to just the weekly or just the website, and of course the news desks as well. So again, a challenge here, and I guess it's hard to read that. Our archiving challenges are we're producing 3 formats. We have dynamic web content, again, that we are posting on our site every day. We do not have a dedicated archivist. When I ran through this presentation, someone said, "But Leigh, you're the dedicated archivist." But I'm not we don't have someone designated for that function. And we have had some significant platform changes almost every year. We have another one coming that I think will improve things. We're going to be classifying and adding some taxonomy and classification to our content this year. So as far as our web content, another archiving challenge we're having is our content from 1980 to 2007 is currently in our CMS, content management system, which is Easy Publish. In 2007 is when we were really starting to move toward a scheduled web publishing model, moving toward the web, publishing more original content for the web, and we were producing it on a WordPress platform that was only in interim until we could implement another publishing platform. And so there's some content that I am optimistically referring to as invisible. Sometimes we have remembered some wonderful multimedia pieces that we've done, and it's just very, very hard to extract. Fortunately, I never say never. We're usually able to find it and incorporate it with what we're doing, but again, it's very difficult. And so we discontinued that platform, moved to Easy Publish, which was almost a year-long process. As you know, there's a lot of customization around this, a lot of development, and so now we're publishing on that, and we're about to move the content. We're hosting it at our site, but it's going to be hosted off-site, I think in a more hosted multi-tenant environment, and so that's another technology project that we're working on currently. So a success story with the web is that we have worked with our vendor partner, ProQuest, to develop what we call the archive edition of our website. Again, it's a significant challenge to capture a dynamic format into a static or preserve it so it endures, but basically we have our production manager, the one that pushed the button in March 2009. She helps gather all that content from the CMS, put it into pages, and then transmit it to ProQuest, where it is put onto various archival formats, including microfilm. And we also retain these pages in our own internal DAM, Digital Asset Management System. So another major success with this is we have retained a revenue stream, which is not insignificant for us as well as for our vendor partner that helped us develop this. And then this also allows us to deposit a copy of that at the Library of Congress. Challenge we are having with this is that it's not, again, it's a dynamic format and then you are capturing a moment in time. So it does not have wire content. We can't incorporate that for various copyright reasons. It does not have comments or some elements or multimedia. And also this is a very manual process. It requires time to complete. It's not always up to the very moment. There's a significant lag time. So that back file takes our staff some time to put together. Here I'm talking about the print weekly, and a success story we've had with that is basically we archive it much like our daily print edition, 48 pages of the weekly instead of a 22-page daily. And then we take that content and selectively post it online when it seems like the best time to serve the audience or people are very in it. Challenge that we're having with the print content is that, again, an advantage is we can selectively post the content, but it's also selectively posted online. Not everything is posted. It's most everything, but not everything. Sometimes there are some very short items that are not, again, posted on the website. In the daily email digest, these are just archived individually in a digital asset management system. This is a very manual, time-consuming process, and it's currently largely residing in our content management system. It's not accessible on the open internet at this time. One of the opportunities that we've had is to use archival content for storytelling in new ways, to revive this great material for new audiences, and it's been new opportunities for our library as well. We really started getting going with this during the last days of the print edition, in which we had very challenging publishing schedule. Our deadlines were in the morning, and this was a Sunday morning, and Luciano Pavarotti, the great Italian tenor, had passed away, and there was a surge of interest in his life. And we were looking for our arts expert, again, this is early on a Sunday morning, to do a tribute, or how are we going to tell the story adequately? And while our web director was scrambling around, we thought, what's so great is our content has been digitized back to the first daily edition in 1908. We have talked to these people many times. We'll find just some great interview while there's this interest in this person and this artist, and put that together as kind of a package. So we did find an interview that had been conducted with him. It was very interesting, even to the non-opera mains, as he's talking about his inspirations and his life. And he was a real populist guy. He drew a lot of inspiration from different cultures and musical traditions. And there was even a conversation about musical piracy. So while they were getting the interview together and a tribute together, we were posting this, and our web director was finding someone that had worked with Pavarotti and could speak about his life in an audio format. So we've done a few other things around this to commemorate anniversaries. This was one where Sputnik at 50, there was a lot of interest in that at the time. And the reporter that had actually written this article 50 years ago, they located him, and he conducted an audio interview for the website to go along with the article. So again, we're incorporating past content in our editorial planning. We use it in augmenting coverage, or to just provide additional context to news stories. And we feel this enriches the reader experience, and it also provides more page views and time on site. And so again, we've done this with anniversaries. We did this very recently with the beginning of the Civil War sesquicentennial observance. We had a reporter who wanted to look at coverage from 1911, coverage in 1961 from a variety of publications, including the Monitor, which was nice because that was digitized. Wanted to look at major newspapers and their digital archives, a newspaper from the South, Harper's Weekly, and he looked at all of this just to see the changes in how the Civil War was being remembered at those points in time. So as you can gather, we're more attentive to user data to see what the internet audience is looking for, but also what the conversation is around. So then we can look at that and determine what we are going to bring to that interest during the day. So as I mentioned, we're involved with this and we initiate a lot of these items either independently or in concert with the other things that we are posting. And our website staff is very enthusiastic about this. More of everything is good for them. The Centennial, as I mentioned, was an opportunity to bring out a lot of our content and show opportunities when the Monitor was there. So we had posted a lot of, we had a dynamic timeline and we were posting original content from every day of the past, over the year, just to commemorate our centennial as well as just look at news events, just opportunities when the Monitor was a witness to what was happening. This was just another example of using archival content. This is Arthur C. Clarke, the science fiction writer, who actually rarely left his home in Sri Lanka, but he came to Boston in 1977 to accept an award, and he had a very interesting speech that he gave. It was wide-ranging, everything from the prospect of an Indian space program to many different topics. And so we used that when he passed away, and it was just one of the most searched for stories of the day. And so in addition to looking at some reviews of his books and commemorating his life, we had posted this article about a talk that he gave. And this has been largely positive. This is just some feedback from one of our social media platforms of a young person who is doing the archival content. So it seems to be resonating and people seem to be sharing it too, and we like that as well. So again, archives are being used to not only conduct research and revive the content, mark historic occasions and lives, and augment our coverage, as well as respond to news events and current interests. And we continue to enjoy revenue from people who are able to discover our content via the News Archive search, which Google launched in 2006. And we're finding that the user expectations are much higher. They're going far beyond just conducting a search. They want to discover related content, especially if they have an interest in the topic. There's many advantages to this. I know there's a lot of discussion about paywalls and so forth. Right now, we feel that there are more people discovering the content and more citizen journalists or readers can help tell a story. And, well, openness can help make that happen. And using historic content has just enriched understanding of news events. It helps us augment our journalism, supports our multimedia. It's another opportunity for proactive librarianship, and it's also increased our website visits. Archives are incredibly valuable, and of the three most valuable assets in the news business, it could be the most quantifiably valuable. It's been said that there's the three most valuable things in a newsroom. One is your brand, not as important as it was, but it's still important. Two is your knowledge base, just the wetware in the newsroom, those professionals that are out there reporting and telling the story of your community. And the third is your archives. And they definitely need to be saved, and they have to be accessible, as I'm sure that everyone in this room is in agreement, for students and researchers, journalism, and justice itself. And it's definitely of lower or zero value lower or zero value if it's not discoverable. So as far as recommendations, having gone through this process, and we are still learning, I think that you really have to help identify, who is discovering your content, how they're using it, how students are using it, how readers are using it, how your staff is using it, and who will be affected by a change or a change in delivery, what your ROI is, where is it being syndicated, who are your partners, who are potential partners, who is buying content. And I would highly recommend having an archivist on the team. It's someone who knows the structure and meaning of all your different content types and how they work and where they live. And I'm going to close there. And please feel free to get in touch over the next day or so or in the future.